Hello, welcome to the conversation here on News Central Television. This is the program that will bring you up to speed with all the political happenings on the African continent. I'm Gbenga Aborowa.
And I'm Rita Omodia. Today on the conversation, we will be looking at the atmosphere in Kenya ahead of August elections. And we understand that the former Kenyan Prime Minister, that's Raila Odinga, and the Vice President, William Ruto, have been cleared to run for the presidency. We'll also be looking at situations in Nigeria where the politicking for the 2023 elections is gathering momentum as the ruling All Progressives Congress gets ready for the presidential primaries. Now, the party has limited the search for their flag bearer to the south. I must say, Abuja right now in Lagos, Nigeria, is quite a hot space, especially as we prepare, we're gearing for the APC presidential primaries. And according to reports, you know that Buhari and the northern governors are in a closed-door meeting as at now. So there are lots of things, even at this dying moment, for the APC presidential primaries.
Interesting developments. A lot of things definitely happening in the political horizon in Nigeria, and also across Africa, Kenya and Angola. We look to see how that plays out.
Especially for William Ruto and Raila Odinga, who have been cleared by the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. So let's begin in Kenya, where the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has cleared the two main presidential candidates and their running mates to contest for the top seat during the August 9 general elections. William Ruto, the sitting deputy president, who is running on the Kenya Kwanza, that is Kenya First coalition of political parties, and his running mate, Rigathi Gachagua, were the first to be cleared to run for the converted seat on Saturday, having met the constitutional threshold.
On his part, Raila Odinga, known as the doyen of opposition politics, was cleared on Saturday and Sunday to run for the presidency under the Azimio la Umoja, meaning Resolution for Unity coalition of more than 20 political parties. The 77-year-old former prime minister and his running mate, Martha Karua, a seasoned female lawmaker and gender rights advocate, promised to conduct peaceful campaigns ahead of the August 9 elections. Now, joining us and the conversation this evening to discuss this is Allan Odero. He is a political analyst from Nairobi, Kenya. We also have Richard Bosire, Kenyan-based political analyst. Gentlemen, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'd like to start with you, Richard. What's your reaction to the clearance by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission of Deputy President William Ruto and Raila Odinga? Was it not expected?
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah, of course, the clearance of Deputy President William Ruto and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga was highly expected because currently they are only the front runners in the race. You can remember like 44 presidential aspirants applied to vie, but only 5 qualified. Today we've seen 13 others being disqualified, so it's only 4 who will be on the ballot alongside. There are 4, plus Ruto and Raila. They are only 4.
Did I hear you clearly, Richard? You said 24 candidates on the ballot.
There are 44.
44.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's quite a huge number.
Yeah, but the IBC has managed to clear 4 only.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, now over to you, Allan. Now, the deputy president, that is William Ruto, said Deep State was shocked by his IEBC clearance to vie for the presidency in the August general election was one of the few of many hurdles he had overcome on his way to what he said will be a resounding win. What do you make of this statement coming from the deputy president?
Okay, thank you very much. So the statement coming from the deputy president is more political posturing. He's responding to a constituency within the country or another political players who made statements to the effect that he won't appear on the ballot, and other political actors who are leading towards the Azimio presidential candidacy of Raila Odinga. So Ruto making such a statement was basically kind of chest thumping to those who had initially indicated that he won't be appearing on the ballot. But either way, we are a country of rules and laws. There were no any compelling reason that would have really barred William Ruto from appearing on the ballot. Such are just coming initially from the originators of the statement, was basically just to muddy the political waters, to portray Ruto as someone who is not worthy of, perhaps who doesn't meet the threshold of what's required in terms of integrity, in terms of the moral and value system questions around his candidature. But he's overcome that. He's now, the clear is more of a procedural issue. All the candidates who meet the qualifications in terms of the number of signatures, 2006, the number of signatures or signatures of endorsers, and academic qualifications, having a university degree, and all the other procedural issues. So having overcome the procedural hurdle, we are now all set for the campaign proper. We remember that this evening there's a new candidate is launching the manifesto. William Ruto has also been going around the country, engaging in town hall meetings to come up with the economic policy talking points for these elections. So at the end of this evening, after the launch of the 10-point plan by the Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga, we'll all be set into that campaign season. So Ruto has surpassed the hurdle of clearance. It's now all systems go.
Stay with you, Allan, before we move to Richard. I just want to take you up on this deep state issue. It's one of the things that Deputy President William Ruto has always said. He said the fourth columnist or the fifth columnist that don't want him to be president, deep state this, deep state that. Does the deep state truly exist, or is it a figment of his imagination?
Okay, within the public space, there have been conversations about the deep state, but just like deep state has been alluded to even in America, I remember Donald Trump blamed the deep state for conspiring against him, but no one can really point out a finger and really isolate who the deep state is. It assumed to be a conglomeration of conservative shadowy interests who control things from behind the scenes. So Ruto's reason for alluding to the deep state interference in view of his candidature has to be the fact that he feels to have been betrayed by the outgoing president. They had a pact like 10 years ago, but Ruto appeared to have fallen out of favor with the incoming president. So he's been whipping up the narrative of being an underdog who is facing a conspiracy by the established political and economic interests in this country. So that's where the narrative of the deep state draws in. He's alluding to a group of conservative, capitalistic interests who are in one way or another not comfortable with his presidential run. So that's where the element of the deep state comes in. But at the same time, he has a narrative for every audience, because when he goes out to the campaign rallies, he's made this statement to his supporters, chiding those who appear to be keen on interfering with candidature. He poses the question that in Kiswahili, so if I would rephrase that a little bit, translation into English, he poses a question to the supporters on the campaign rallies that, looking at me, do I seem like someone who can be cheated out of his victory, really? Looking at me, do I seem like someone who can be cheated by the deep state? Then the crowd draws no. So when it's convenient, when it's convenient, he left the deep state. So it's a case of responding to different political scenarios, trying to address different audiences, but every Kenyan is interested in a free and fair democratic process. We are confident in, we seek solace in the fact that we have a little bit of a mature political experiment so far. In 2017, first of its kind in Africa, our Supreme Court nullified the presidential election outcome. So even the Electoral Commission of this country can't afford any monkey games with the presidential election. They know that we've got recourse in the Supreme Court. So the procedural issues and the hurdles having been surpassed at the moment, Ruto has been cleared, Raila has been cleared. And then out of the initial 44 or more, what people perceived as 40 or so-called jokers, we've now reduced this list to around 4 or 5 serious presidential candidates. But two frontrunners, basically Ruto and Raila. The rest are just, I would call them, I don't know whether it's politically correct to call them flower girls, or I don't know, but
oh, no.
So we got, it's now campaign proper.
Allan, so I don't believe you just called them flower girls. Allan, I wouldn't believe that. But let's hear from Richard now. Now, he's saying that the two main contenders are Raila Odinga and, of course, the Deputy President William Ruto. Now, for Raila Odinga, this would be his 5th stab at Kenya's presidency. Now, when you're looking at most of the campaign rallies that Raila Odinga has been going through, and of course the manifesto, which we're hoping to see, he says that his desire for presidency is to improve governance, spur economic growth, and promote cohesion. Now, do you see this as more of a personal ambition for him, or he really wants to transform Kenyan lives for the better?
As we speak now, Raila Odinga is officially launching his manifesto in Nairobi. And I think with all his experience he has had in government and the team he has formed, the Azimio coalition, I think they are capable of transforming Kenya and implementing what in their manifesto. If you look at Raila Odinga's running mate, she's Martha Karua. She's a former Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. She's a long-time activist and pro-pluralism in Kenya. So people are, according to the latest opinion polls that have been released in Kenya, since after Raila picked Martha Karua as his running mate, his ratings has gone up, and that's why people are saying he's now leading in the race against William Ruto, who picked a former district officer during the KANU times, which was not well received across the country, apart from his backyard in Nyeri, where people celebrated and say that the deputy president post is coming back home.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, Richard, when you look at the former Prime Minister, that's Raila Odinga, when he was the Prime Minister, how would you rate his administration? Because it's not like it's the first time he's been in governance. So when you look at what he has done before, do you see him coming back and doing something better?
Yeah, in the 2002, Raila was the Minister for Roads and Infrastructure under the NAC government, the Mwai Kibaki government. And I was credited for transforming the road sector. Even the good roads in Nairobi were done when he was a roads minister. So people have so much hope in him, and since he has been fighting for the rights of Kenyans for the last many years as an opposition leader, people have so much hope in him when he takes over. He's saying he's going to fight corruption. His running mate Martha Karua is also known for being no nonsense when it comes to corruption. She has no past history of corruption cases, unlike other government officials who have served in the cabinet. And even Raila Odinga, is called nicknamed Baba in Kenya, has also a good track record in terms of being of his integrity and matters to do with corruption. Unlike the other camp, which is led by Ruto and his running mate Ruto Gachagua, they have past histories of corruption cases which are still in court. Ruto's running mate is accused of money laundering up to 10 billion Kenyan shillings. You can imagine that. So that's a very poor track record from the other side of UDA.
Thank you, Richard. Let's bring in Allan and talk about the Deputy President, William Ruto. He has reframed the political discourse in Kenya into hustlers versus dynasties. That is a struggle between Kenyans of low birth and the alliance of wealthy families that have monopolized politics in Kenya since independence. Now, is this really, if you permit me, during his appearance before the IEBC, he did appear with a border person and also a vendor, a fruit vendor that appeared as witnesses. They acted as a proposer and witness. Is he really the man of the people, or is just playing to the gallery?
Okay, thank you. Responding to that, the hustler versus dynasties narrative is more of a populist rhetoric. It's a politically strategic move. William Ruto knew so well that the silent mamas in this country, you know about the delicate governance architecture in Africa, you know about the delicate ethnic arithmetic in our countries. William Ruto using the hustler versus dynasty narrative as an disingenuous strategy to mask any talk of regional rotation of the presidency. Ruto's ethnic nationality has occupied this country's presidency for 24 years. So Ruto knew so well that there'll be questions about the need that after the regional, the demographic that Uhuru Kenyatta represents, the Gikuyu or the Gema nation, has occupied the presidency right now for, at the end of Uhuru's term, it will be 35 years. Then Ruto's ethnic nationality, 24 years. So to mischievous, to tactfully get away from this conversation, is to spin the narrative to talk about that, okay, there are really no tribes in Kenya. We have the haves and the have-nots. But deep at the end of this conversation, we know so well there is all that political posturing, because whoever Ruto right now accuses to be the dynasties were not dynasties before the political fallout. Ruto endorsed and campaigned for Uhuru Kenyatta 5 years ago. So there are questions that a quarter of this country, a section of this country asked that. Did Ruto at that time know that Uhuru Kenyatta was a dynasty? And then having nurtured his politics and and his wealth under Daniel Arap Moi's tutelage, is he now going to turn his back on the hand that fed him, the hand that nurtured him? So in as much as Africa and the TAL really needs to have conversations about economic equality in terms of a space for everyone, Ruto's is a case of political rhetoric to whip up emotions so that the country rises up against what he says to be a pact between the elite, the dynastic elite representing the Kenyatta families, the Moi families, now backing Raila Odinga. But Raila Odinga is a man of his own. Raila Odinga has cultivated a constituency for close to 30 years. Raila has run arguably and won the presidency, though not declared the winner close to 3 times. So you can't really call Raila at this time to be a dynastic project as Ruto would want it to be. His is just a case of political rhetoric, and posturing. But the naming of Martha Karua as running mate has significantly changed the conversation, so that Martha Karua has will help in a long way to water down the talk of the dynasty. Because if Ruto claims is a commoner, Martha Karua is equally a commoner who rose from nowhere through sheer hard work and excellence in school and her career, got to where she got to. So it's a double. So Martha and Raila ticket is well balanced and will provide a perfect counter to Ruto's rhetoric about herself versus dynasties.
Okay, aside from political rhetorics and, of course, Raila Odinga and William Ruto, which has been popularly speculated. Now, Richard, what about the other candidates cleared by the IEDBC? We know we have Professor George Wadakoya of Roots Party, Walter Mungari of Umoja Summit Party, and lawyer David Mwaura Wahiga of the Agano Party. What are their chances of emerging victorious in the August 9th election? Or can we put it as Allan said, they're just flower girls? Why exactly is there so much focus on William Ruto and Raila Odinga?
Why is no one talking about them?
As Allan said, I agree with him that the other 2 presidential candidates are just flower girls, and I think they're just there to make history. They're not there to win. These are 2 horse race between Raila and Ruto. If you look at the other 2 presidential candidates, Professor Wajakoya is just a lawyer in town. He has no resources to mount a presidential campaign. In Kenya right now, if you can't raise at least 10 billion Kenyan shillings, it will be very hard for you to campaign countrywide and gain support. The other candidate is a reverend, is a bishop. I think this is the 2nd time he's vying for president. He's David Mwaura Wahiga. Yeah, he's vying under Agano Party. He's also vied before and he got less than 50,000 votes or 30. So nothing will change. These 2 will just get less than 100,000 votes across the country.
But Richard, don't you think Kenyans probably could look at more of a fresh face? I mean, someone who has not been in government before. Don't you think it's the time for change in Kenya and not just on the major political figures that we've known for a long time in Kenya?
You know, in Kenya, there's nothing like maybe selling a manifesto, bringing fresh ideas. It's about how many tribal kings or how many tribes, ethnic groups can you mobilize, or how many are supporting you. If you look at Raila Odinga, he managed to get the support of more governors than Ruto, and also he has the support of the President Uhuru Kenyatta. Those are things which influence the election. If you just come with your party and 2,000 signatures from 24 counties without any support from tribal kings, you have zero chances of winning.
It takes more than that to emerge. It does take more than that to emerge president of Kenya. And I'm happy you did mention tribe, because my question to Allan is this. The deputy president candidates are both from they're from the Kikuyu ethnic group, Martha Karua and Rigathi Gachagua. They're both from the Kikuyu ethnic group. How much of a factor is ethnicity play, and what role does it play in Kenyan politics?
Okay, thank you. So across Africa and much of the third world, ethnic mobilization remains our kind of political. Ours is ethnic mobilization of our political campaigns and coalition building. So Ruto, coming from the Rift Valley, coming from the Kalenjin community, and anointing Rigathi Gachagua, the running mate, is seen by some quarters of this country as a perpetuation of the whole that the two major ethnic blocks, the Kikuyu and Kalenjin, survived on presidency since the independence. So, but Ruto chose Rigathi Gachagua because he's attempting the political calculation that Uhuru Kenyatta, working with him in 2013, tried, that a block Kalenjin vote and a block, the most populous region of the country, the Mount Kenya block, would kind of, then with packets of votes from selected corners of the country, would grant him the threshold to be declared the winner. But the ball game has changed a lot now that Raila Odinga also made a tactical move by picking a woman, first of all, a woman candidate as the deputy president, and also from the Gikuyu community who comes from that area. So, in as much as Ruto and Rigathi ticket presents a continuation of the Kikuyu and Kalenjin monopoly of the presidency in this country, while Raila would be seen by the non-Kalenjin and the non-Kikuyu communities as an opportunity for the rest of the country to have a taste of the presidency. You know, Raila is Luo, as you know it. Then Martha Karua is Kikuyu, coming from that very, very territory. So the calculation is that Martha Karua has a wider national appeal. Martha Karua has a track record. Martha Karua is in public service for over 30 years. She's someone principled. She's someone with a value system. She's someone who scores high on the integrity score compared to the other rival on the other ticket who's been charged in court with money laundering, corruption, and all these other cases. So their calculation is that Martha Karua will counter the Ruto wave in Mount Kenya. And immediately after being declared the running mate, within a few days' time, she conducted 11 rallies within the territory. And the conversation has changed. Initially, Ruto was confident of 80% from that region. Mm-hmm. But right now, people are saying that it's 60-40. In the long run, it could be an even split, or even Raila getting 60 and 40% to Martha Karua. But let me add that ethnicity alone won't be a factor in this country. Martha Karua brings the women constituency, brings the women demographic to that ticket. You know, this is the first time that this is the highest political position that a woman has held in this country, and in a major coalition with a realistic chances of victory. It excites the women constituency beyond even Mount Kenya, beyond Kikuyu land, where Martha comes from. So that's a plus already that she will counter the votes that she will cancel the vote that Rigathi Gachagua could offer Ruto within that territory with the ethnic vote, and then similarly attract the women vote across the country, in every corner of the country. The moment she was declared the winner, watching the TV clips, the conversations from people all over the country, the women vote, the women voters, there was excitement all over the country. So if the Raila Odinga campaign can translate this excitement into voter turnout at the ballot, then it will be a done deal probably in the first round.
I must say that was very strategic for the Raila Odinga camp. I mean, there's nothing like having a woman beside you, I must say. Thank you so much. Gbenga has to look at me. Thank you so much, Richard Bosire, and of course, Allan, for joining us on the conversation. Of course, August 9 is right around the corner, and our eyes are fixed on Kenya. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And right now, we'll go for a quick break. And when we come back, we'll see situations in Nigeria, where, of course, we are counting down to the APC presidential primaries. Do stay tuned.